The head of the Air Force glanced down at the ground below. "Just look at this God-forsaken desert," he cried. "All the trees are dead and all the rocks are blue." The giants had stopped. The young pilot said, "He's waving us down." The pilots throttled back the engines, and all 9 helicopters landed safely on a great yellow wasteland. Then each of them lowered a ramp of its belly. 9 jeeps on one from each helicopter were driven down the ramps. Each jeep contained 6 soldiers, and the vast quantity of thick rope and heavy chains. "I don't see any giants," the head of the army said. "The giants is all just out of sight over there," the big BFG told him. "But if you was taking these swashbuckling noisy belly poppers any closer, all the giants is waking up at once, and then pop goes the weasel. So you want us to proceed by jeep?" the head of the army said. "Yes," the BFG said, "but you must all be very, very hushy quiet. No roaring or mutters, no shouting, no mucking out about the piggery-jokery." The BFG, with Sophie still in his ear, trotted forward, and the jeeps followed close behind. Suddenly the most dreadful rumbling noise was heard by everyone. The head of the army went pea-green in the face. "Those are guns!" he cried. "There is a battle raging somewhere up ahead of us. Turn back, a lot of you. Let's get out of here." "Pigs piffle," the BFG said. "Those noises is not guns." "Of course they're guns," shouted the head of the army. "I am a military man, and I know a gun when I hear one. Turn back." "Those is just the giants snorting in their sleep," the BFG said. "I is a giant myself, and I know a giant snarl when I is hearing one." "Are you quite sure?" the army man said anxiously. "Positive," the BFG said. "Proceed cautiously," the army man ordered. They all moved on. Then they saw them. Even at this distance, they were enough to scare the daylights out of the soldiers. But when they got close and saw what the giants really looked like, they began to sweat with fear. 9 fearsome, ugly, half-naked, 50 feet long brutes lay sprawled over the ground in various grotesque attitudes of sleep, and the sound of their snoring was indeed like gunfire in a battle. The BFG raised a hand. The jeeps all stopped. The soldiers got out. "What happens if one of them wakes up?" whispered the head of the army, his knees knocking together from fear. "If any one of them is waking up, he will gobble you down before you can say 'Neck, Chief,'" the BFG answered, grinning hugely. "Me is the only one what won't be gobbled up, because giants is never eating giants." Me and Sophie is the only safe ones because I is hiding her if that happens. The head of the army took several paces to the rear, so did the head of the Air Force. They climbed rather quickly back into their jeep, ready to make a fast getaway if necessary. Go forward, man, the head of the army said. Go forward and do your duty bravely. The soldiers crept forward with their ropes and chains. All of them were trembling mightily. None dared speak a word.